reprise débat. The honourable member for Flamborough-Glanbrook, Brant North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and let me say off the top that I will be splitting my time with the great new honourable member for Terra Nova, the Peninsulas. And since this is my first time speaking for a substantive length of time since the election, please allow me to thank the hardworking, industrious people of Flamborough-Glanbrook, Brant North for the honour of being their voice, their servant, and carrying their hopes and dreams to this place. And while I have lived and worked in other places in North America in my career, I've always felt that and known that the communities of Flamborough-Glanbrook, Brant North are my true home, and home is where the heart is. And it's the honour of my lifetime to serve these great communities. I want to thank my campaign team, Simon, Mona, Jordan, Wendy, Jim, and hundreds of volunteers, but above all, my wife Tracy, without whose love and support I certainly wouldn't be here today. So now to the matter at hand. Canadians are struggling, and not because we lack talent, and not because we lack resources, but because we too often are being held back by red tape, gatekeeping, and a government that overpromises and underdelivers. Nowhere is that clearer than when it comes to getting big projects built or when trying to move goods and services and workers across provincial lines in our own country. And these barriers don't just cost us time and money. They cost us opportunities, investments, and jobs. But that's why Bill C-5, enact the Free Trade and Labour Mobility in Canada Act and the Building Canada Act, is such a missed opportunity. It claims to deliver free trade and fast-tracked projects, but the reality, it delivers bureaucratic theatre. A showpiece of announcements without the substance to back them up. Let's start with part one of the bill, the Free Trade and Labour Mobility in Canada Act. The premise is good. Canadians should be able to work and trade freely across the country without unnecessary federal barriers. But the scope of this section is minuscule. It affects a tiny subset of goods and services. In fact, during government briefings on the bill, one of the few examples offered was clean energy labels on washing machines. Certainly underwhelming. And there's no comprehensive list of affected items. There's no plan to deal with the biggest trade barriers, and no mechanism to assess progress, and no timelines. And no effort to create a Blue Seal licensing standard that would allow skilled immigrants, professionals such as doctors, nurses, engineers to work in the province next door despite meeting rigorous national standards. So this was a missed chance to unlock the talent that is already here in this country. It was also a missed opportunity to incentivize the provinces to remove their own barriers. The most effective governments are those that find ways to align incentives, not just issue guidance and hope for the best. That's why Conservatives have proposed a real solution to offer financial bonuses to provinces for every interprovincial trade barrier they eliminate. It's a win-win-win. It boosts GDP and it increases federal revenues. In fact, economists estimate that removing interprovincial trade barriers could add as much as $200 billion to Canada's economy. Yet instead of seizing that opportunity, Bill C-5 takes a baby step. It scratches the surface when Canadians are looking for bold, transformative reform. And then there's part two of the bill, the Building Canada Act. Mr. Speaker, the most revealing part of this section is not what it proposes, but what it omits. It's an admission by this government that its own laws are the problem, that Liberal legislation like Bill C-69, the shipping ban, the energy cap, these laws have tied our economies in knot. And the Liberals know it, and investors know it, and workers know it. And this bill is their workaround, a way to admit failure without fixing the root of the problem. This bill tries to create selective escape hatches for a few lucky projects. But it keeps all the red tape in place. It's a patchwork solution for a broken process. There's no clarity on which projects will qualify, no defined criteria for what constitutes the national interest, no certainty for investors or communities, just another layer of bureaucracy and a lot of discretion left in the hands of ministers. Even with the promise of a 2-year timeline, Provincial vetoes remain, and the sunset clause limiting the use of these powers to just 5 years. How is anyone supposed to plan long term? And here's the most frustrating part. The Liberals are essentially picking and choosing which projects get exemptions without fixing the laws that block everything else. If they can fast-track one project, why not all deserving projects? Why not fix the system for everyone, not just the politically connected few? Mr. Speaker, Canadians don't want political favors. They want fairness, they want clarity, and they want to build. And that's why Conservatives support real reform, one-and-done approvals, a national energy corridor, shovel-ready zones with clear timelines and firm standards. We believe all worthy projects should be able to proceed, not just the ones that win favor from this week's minister. We have the people, we've got the expertise in Canada, and we have the resources. What we need is a government that believes in Canada's potential again. Mr. Speaker, let's talk about the broader context. Canada has posted the worst growth in the G7 over the last decade. Yet we have all the national resources in the world. We have everything the world wants. At the same time, we're selling our energy to the United States at a discount. Our farmers, our miners, our builders are being boxed in by the federal government. Global demand for energy, food, and raw materials is surging. And other countries are stepping up, but Canada is standing still. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce said it well. Internal trade barriers are like a self-imposed 21% tariff. And what did we get from this bill? A couple of washing machines. Meanwhile, U.S. tariffs have turned a simmering problem into a full-blown crisis. Canadian workers and exporters are caught in the middle, and this government has no answer. Dan Kelly of the Canadian Federation of Independent Business summed it up. The spirit of this bill may be positive, but in practice, it won't move the needle. We could be leading the world. Again, we have everything the world wants. 18 LNG projects, that has been mentioned here, sat on Trudeau's desk awaiting approval. The Germans, the Japanese, and other countries came to us and asked, they came looking for our LNG. We could have been helping get the world off coal and replacing European dependence on Russian natural gas, yet the Liberals turned the German Chancellor away and said there was no business case. Will this be more of the same? This isn't about economics, just about economics. It's about sovereignty and national unity and building a future where Canada leads in so many sectors that we're capable of doing. It's about restoring the Canadian promise to generations that feel abandoned by their government. Mr. Speaker, Conservatives won't stand in the way of the minor progress of this bill, but we won't pretend that this bill delivers what it claims. We will work in committee this week to strengthen it. We will seek real amendments, and we will keep pushing for solutions that go beyond optics and tackle the root cause of stagnation. Because Canadians don't want more red tape, they don't want more process, they want paychecks, they want purpose, they want projects to get built, and they want to be proud of this country and what it can do once again. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.